All right, this is the big breaking news right now. We were analyzing the exit poll numbers as they were coming in, and poll after poll seems to be suggesting that the BJP is all set for a win, even though it may be a hung assembly in Uttar Pradesh. The BJP is going to be in the driver's seat, emerging as the single largest party, barring, of course, ABP. But, of course, the fallouts have begun, and in an interview to BBC Hindi, Akhilesh Yadav just a short while back has said that he is open to an alliance even with the BSP if that means this is going to keep the BJP out. He does not want the BJP to remote control Uttar Pradesh from the centre. Let's take this across to that BBC interview of Akhilesh Yadav, a telephonic interview in which he did make those statements.
अगर आप बड़ी फाइट बीजेपी से मान रहे हैं तो क्या ये समझा जाए कि चुनाव नतीजों के बाद बसपा से गठबंधन का रास्ता बंद नहीं है?
नहीं, गठबंधन के लिए मैं अभी इसलिए नहीं कह सकता हूं कि हम खुद सरकार में बनाने जा रहे हैं और जो बहुजन समाज पार्टी के नेता हैं उनको मैंने एक रिश्ते से हमेशा सम्मान दिया है, तो ये स्वाभाविक है लोग ये मानेंगे कि अगर कहीं कमी होगी तो हम बहुजन समाज पार्टी के साथ ना चले जाएं या बहुजन समाज पार्टी का सहयोग ना ले लें। ये बात अभी कहना मुश्किल है, लेकिन मैं ये कहता हूं हमारी और कांग्रेस, समाजवादी और कांग्रेस का बहुमत आने वाला है, बहुमत के साथ सरकार बनेगी।
आपने अभी तक गठबंधन को लेकर जो हमारे जितने भी सवाल हैं स्पष्ट जवाब नहीं दिया है, तो क्या ये माना जाए कि आप संभावना से इनकार नहीं कर रहे हैं, जरूरत पड़ेगी जिससे मिलेगा साथ लेंगे?
मैं अभी भी कहना चाहता हूं, मेरा मानना है कि समाजवादी पार्टी को किसान, महिलाओं ने और नौजवानों ने समर्थन दिया है। बीजेपी कोई काम नहीं बता पाई है, परिस्थितियां क्या बनेंगी वो तो वोट के बाद पता लगेगा, खुल जाएगा। समाजवादी और कांग्रेस दोनों ही को अच्छी सीटें जीतना नहीं, अकेले ही सरकार बनाएंगे। हाँ, अगर सरकार के लिए जरूरत पड़ेगी तो देखिए, कोई नहीं चाहेगा कि उत्तर प्रदेश में राष्ट्रपति शासन लागू हो, बीजेपी रिमोट कंट्रोल से उत्तर प्रदेश को चलाए, तो ये तो कोई नहीं चाहेगा।
All right, let's take this across to our expert panel back there because we were just discussing this as we folded up the show, of course, off cameras, and it looks like it is indeed going to be a possibility. Swami, you want to come in on that? How do you read the statement of Akhilesh Yadav? He is once again referring to Mayawati very reverentially, and we also did have this chat that all through the elections, the attack was never on Mayawati personally. The attack was never on the BSP. The attack was always on Modi. Do you see this as a possibility? They have in the past alternated as chief ministers being ally partners, but do you see this as a possibility emerging once again? If the numbers don't add up for the SP and the Congress alliance, they could perhaps be looking at the BSP to keep the BJP out.
Mayawati has openly accused Mulayam Singh Yadav of actually trying to murder her, and she was saved by the skin of her teeth. So that is a huge gulf which has made very difficult for them to get together. But this is the advantage Akhilesh has of being the anti-incumbent, saying, I'm not like my father, I would never have done that kind of thing. And therefore, to come to power, just as Lalu and Nitish, two old foes, got together, similarly Mayawati and the Yadavs, they two old foes, they too can get together in pursuit of political power. It is an entirely feasible outcome. It is possible that something like this is done to keep the BJP out in Goa also.
Feasible option, but let's just stick with Uttar Pradesh for the time being. And Sagarika, you see that as a possibility? The SP may be very keen, but what about the BSP? Will she be too happy to be a part of a government and an alliance that will keep the BJP out, given the fact that she has given out tickets very strategically to dominant, influential, rich Muslim candidates, at least in the Western Belt?
Look, Supriya, just to put this in context, I think what has happened is if these exit poll numbers are right, and this has been a growing fear within the SP camp as well, that the alliance with the Congress has not worked as well as they thought it would. I think the Congress was given too many seats. Maybe Akhilesh Yadav was under pressure, but there has been a growing feeling among the Samajwadi Party brass, and I've spoken to them, that the Congress actually is in reckoning in just about 50 to 60 seats. 105 seats to the Congress, tickets to the Congress is just way too much for the SP to have given. So clearly there have been a lot of misgivings within the Samajwadi Party about the alliance with the Congress. Now, as far as the BSP is concerned, remember the BSP has tied up with the BJP 3 times. But this time, the BJP perhaps is not going to want to tie up with the BJP because regional parties are uniquely threatened by Mr. Modi's party now. They are very fearful of being swallowed up by Mr. Modi's party. And as you rightly point out, she has given all those tickets to Muslims, and it would be a kind of a betrayal if she then went ahead and tied up with the BJP. Now, as Swami is saying, the Samajwadi Party of of Akhilesh is not the Samajwadi Party of Mulayam. So maybe there was a bitter parting in 1995 with the guest house incident when Mayawati was actually almost beaten up by the Samajwadi Party goons when she withdrew support from that government. But there has also been a history of the Samajwadi Party and the Bahujan Samaj Party tying up. So it's not as if they haven't been in alliance. As we know, Akhilesh has called Mayawati Bua on several occasions, has expressed himself very respectfully towards her, and very importantly, as you rightly pointed out, strategically throughout the campaign, they have not attacked, Rahul and Akhilesh have not attacked Mayawati even once, and nor has she attacked them. So it seems as if the Akhilesh camp, the Samajwadi camp is ruining the fact, perhaps not ruining the fact, but perhaps admitting that the alliance with the Congress did not work out and that they are now open to an alliance with the BSP, which actually, frankly, would have been the rational alliance to undertake. Because in Bihar, remember, you had Nitish Kumar and Lalu. Now, these are the two forces that came together in Bihar, both homegrown, solid forces in Bihar. So the equivalent of that would have been the BSP and the SP in Uttar Pradesh. That was the rational, that's the rational comparison with Bihar, but that didn't happen. Now, obviously, to keep the BJP out, this is the alliance that Akhilesh is signaling he's now open to, whereas perhaps it would have been more beneficial for him if he had thought of this a little earlier and gone in for an alliance with Mayawati rather than with the Congress.
Sadanand, you want to come in on that? The index of opposition unity would have been perhaps far more relevant had SP and BSP gone together. But are we going to see a post-election tie-up than a pre-election one that perhaps would have worked more in their favor, that perhaps would not have divided the votes like it looks like it has, at least going by the exit polls?
Somewhat different take. I mean, first of all, I'm not going to, I don't think this news break should be taken as, as though this is necessarily something earth-shattering. To me, first of all, it shows that Akhilesh seems to sense that he may not have the numbers, even though he's saying he may. So first of all, he's showing weakness by even opening the door to this conversation. The second thing is that there are many reasons that make an alliance between the SP and the BSP very difficult, which is one reason why they're not together in the first place. If you look on the ground, of course, there's that bad blood, there's that history. I'm not sure if it's that easy to shrug off just simply by saying that, well, Akhilesh is not Mulayam. On the ground, many of the people who are most oppressive towards Mayawati's supporters are, in fact, SP voters. So there's a lot of friction going on. And then eventually, I think what we should be looking at is just the numbers. If the BJP is through, this entire conversation is moot. If it's close, it just depends on who is bigger and how close they are. And the third possibility that we haven't raised is the possibility of the BSP doing really poorly and splintering, in which case I think it would find quite a congenial home with the BJP. And also, let's not forget that the BJP is in power in the center. It has a very powerful prime minister and a very powerful party leader. These people are ambitious, they're ruthless, they see this as a big prize, and I would be very, very surprised if they come within grasping distance and allow this to slip from their fingers.
Swami, you agree with that? It's going to be very difficult to imagine that the BJP will let go of the BSP, let the BSP go to SP and stay out of power in Uttar Pradesh, because Uttar Pradesh is that prize cash that everybody would want to have. Is there a higher chance of the BSP going with the BJP if the numbers fall short than actually going with the Samajwadis?
I think Modi fully understands that he needs allies. This was demonstrated most vividly, of course, in the Rajya Sabha in the last 2.5 years. But, all of us saying the BJP is the default party in power and others are going to be against it. It's not a comfortable position to be in if everybody is going to be against you. So I would say the BJP needs to reach out and get allies among the regional parties. And it would be logical for Modi, I think, to go quite some way to accommodate Mayawati, if at all it's possible, in a hung assembly. Of course, if Mayawati says, I must be chief minister, which she will surely demand, I'm not sure she will get that. But again, let's look at the numbers. I mean, suppose Mayawati gets, 85 and the BJP gets 130, something like that. Then, Mayawati's claims that, you give me first shot, improves. So let's see what the numbers are.
All right, so we'll have to wait and watch what the numbers finally, the final number tally is. But like Sadhana was pointing out there, by opening a conversation to that door, Akhilesh has not just shown his desperation, but also a sign of weakness that he is going by the exit polls. Sagarika, I want to throw this question to you. You know, Mayawati was a very dominant UP politician at one point in time. Many people believe she's a shadow of herself, of her former self right now. There's a disproportionate asset case. She's being chased by the CBI. So many people believe it will be perhaps easier and more convenient for her if she were to throw her weight with the ruling alliance in the center, with the ruling party in the center. And they have in the past, you know, BSP and BJP have been partners in Uttar Pradesh in the past. The whole Lalji Tandon tying a Rakhi, we haven't forgotten those visuals. How plausible is that situation if the numbers were to fall short for the BJP?
You know, again, Supriya, it really all depends on the numbers. But as you rightly say, yes, the BSP has tied up with the BJP 3 times. Although in that alliance, as we saw, the BJP votes transferred to the BSP, transferred to the BSP, but the BSP votes did not transfer to the BJP. So the BJP was the loser actually in that alliance. So it's possible that, you know, that she may be tempted to go in for an alliance with the BJP, given that they're the ruling party at the center. Although I very much doubt it, because the kind of atmospherics and the kind of chemistry or lack of chemistry that exists between Mayawati and Mr. Modi, I would say it makes it very difficult for those two formations to ally. On the other hand, Mayawati this time really doesn't have a big idea. It is a make or break election for the BSP. Remember, the BSP has lost 2 elections in a row. It lost 2012, it lost 2014. It doesn't have a single Lok Sabha MP right now. And we saw in the 2014 elections that the BJP actually got 24% of the Dalit vote nationally, whereas the BSP got only 14. So even the Dalit, a sizable section of the Dalit vote is moving away from Mayawati to the BJP. So it's difficult for Mayawati to I think, find an alliance with the BJP very easy. On the other hand, Mayawati this time, as you rightly say, is looking a little tired. Her old style way of playing politics, of the usual caste and community arithmetic, may be unraveling. She doesn't seem to have a big idea. She has been hit by corruption charges, and this is a real make or break election for her. If she slips back into double digits, I think then we're looking at Mayawati and the BSP going back to the 1990s, where they're really back to where they began when Kanchiram first founded the party and they had to work themselves up. Because remember, in 2007, she won that spectacular victory where she got 207 seats and 30% of the vote. Now, it seems as if there's been a precipitous fall from that. And Mayawati doesn't seem to be someone who in this election has shown that either she has a big idea or that she's been able to really be a force to reckon with in the way that she was. On the other hand, again, it must be said that the BSP voter is very difficult to predict. We've often seen that opinion polls do not get Mayawati right because the voter of Mayawati is fearful, does not speak his mind, and therefore we really don't know what the numbers will be at the end. But if Mayawati's numbers are very bad, there is a chance that she would look to an ally. I'm not sure an alliance with the BJP in these circumstances would be very palatable for her. It won't be palatable for the Samajwadi Party either. But if Akhilesh is willing to go out there and work towards this alliance, you never know. I mean, everything's possible in Indian politics. But as you rightly say, I think Mayawati in this election has found herself on the back foot and has found herself somewhat lacking in energy and somewhat discredited.
Right, discredited, lacking energy. And I think Sadanand said this to me about 2 days back when he was in the show earlier, that this isn't really Mayawati's election. I don't know if Swami said it or Sanadam. Sadanand, I'm going to throw this to you because you believe that it could go either way. It could be with the BJP or with the SP, depending on what the final numbers will be on that day. I know we've spoken about the larger picture early on, but the context, of course, has changed given that one statement of Akhilesh Yadav in which he says he's open. And let's remind our viewers here, in an interview with BBC Hindi, Akhilesh Yadav has very categorically said that he will do anything, quote unquote, to keep the BJP out in Uttar Pradesh. He also goes on to say that hamara rishta hai BSP se, which he's being very reverential towards Mayawati, keeps calling her Bua ji. Sadanand, the larger question really is, how does a non-BJP government, even though it may be the single largest party, may lack the numbers to form the government, what does BJP out of power in UP then mean? Does this change the entire context, the entire narrative so far?
I think again it depends entirely on the numbers. You know, if the BJP is coming in at say 150, 155 seats and Akhilesh and Mayawati get together, or you know, it's a different story. But if the BJP, if your polls are correct, and the BJP looks like it's within grasping distance of a majority, I think they'll find their way there. They're going to be independent. There'll be all kinds of other ways. For the narrative to change, the BJP has to be locked out after a clear defeat. That is possible. We're going to see the results on Saturday. It doesn't look like what we're seeing so far based on the polls.
All right, it doesn't look like so far based on the polls. But Swami, you want to come in on that? Does the context in some changes? And because the context changes, does the narrative also change? If the BJP, I know if they get it to about 190, 195, they will go ahead and form the next government. They'll find ways to, like Sadanand is pointing out there. But if they don't, if they end up at 150, 160, and the BSP and the SP do get together, and we do see that index of opposition unity finally form the next government, what does this do to the national narrative? Because the prized possession of Uttar Pradesh will not land with the BJP then.
I think Mayawati will be the one who says, I welcome both the suitors. You and I will take the better offer. I mean, she's not automatically going to one side or the other. She says, are all the bids in? And we'll extend the bidding tomorrow, we'll extend it day after tomorrow. That's where the numbers become very important. It is entirely possible that neither of the other two can form a government.
In 1993, in fact, in 1993, the BJP did come out as the single largest party, but it was in fact the BSP and SP which formed the government, because the BJP was unable to form the government because it didn't have the numbers, even though it was the single largest party. So, are we looking at a 1993 type situation again? It really, again, all depends on the numbers.
Again, but the context is very different. I mean, you have to see that this is Uttar Pradesh. There's a powerful BJP government sitting in Delhi with Narendra Modi at the helm. So in terms of which of these two suitors has more to offer, both in terms of carrots and, I hate to say this, in terms of sticks, one seems much more powerful than the other to me.
I would go with the sticks more than the carrots at this stage, but I'm going to quickly talk to you about Modi's popularity, and given the larger context, even if Akhilesh Yadav has come out there in the open and made the statement about doing anything it takes to keep the BJP out of UP, Modi's popularity is still unquestionable. Am I right on that? No matter who forms the next government in Uttar Pradesh. Sagrika.
No, Modi's popularity is beyond
doubt.
Beyond doubt. I mean, Modi is going to be aiming, frankly, for 2019, right? For him, important though the state is, it is a step towards the 2019 victory. Can he win in 2019 despite losing in 2017? Yes. So they will continue to go all out. You may well get a situation that if there is a Mayawati and Akhilesh get together, that might break down before 2019, especially if the BJP is helping along with carrots and sticks.
And mind you, there's a lot of grievances within the BJP at the local level. There are lots of BJP karyakartas and MLAs and the BJP workers who are actually very upset with demonetization and very upset with the leadership. So the BJP as a party is really not that kind of a force in UP. In fact, BJP has been losing vote share in UP since 1996. Vajpayee couldn't bring the BJP to power in UP. So the story of the BJP has actually been one of decline in Uttar Pradesh. It's been declining for the last 15 years. So it's actually Modi who's new to the picture. He's the X factor which has come into the picture and which has changed everything for the BJP in UP. It's all Modi, which is why the crowds are chanting Modi, Modi. So it's really nothing to do with the popularity of the BJP in UP, but entirely to do with the popularity of personally Mr. Modi. So it's Mr. Modi's victory and entirely Mr. Modi's charisma that is carrying this election. So I think as far as the popularity of Modi is concerned, there can be no doubt about the fact that he is the one who is universally popular across Uttar Pradesh. And as I said, I think a win in UP, it really again all depends on the numbers. But a win in UP for Mr. Modi is extremely significant. It establishes Mr. Modi as the premier politician in India. It establishes his authority in the party. It establishes him in, I would say, an unassailable position, because given the fact that he started out with a huge burden of demonetization, given the fact that the alliance actually had the momentum. in the beginning, that the UP ke ladke aage badh ke kind of slogan that Rahul and Akhilesh were giving. The alliance did have the tailwind in the beginning, but that Mr. Modi personally went to UP, did the kind of rallies he did, launched a blitzkrieg in the way he did. I think this is entirely, if there is a victory for the BJP, it's entirely Mr. Modi's victory.
Well, there is no doubt about that. But I do want to revisit some of the big picture questions that we spoke about a little while back. And Sadan, if I may come to you, the referendum will clearly be for Modi. And many people actually out there believe, and I'm perhaps one of them, that if if the SP and the BSP do get into some kind of a forced pact, they will do that at their own risk, because this is also going to tell the voters that we voted for the BJP and you still kept them out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot to be said to that. I think the kind of, something that Sagarika alluded to, which is the sort of early 1990s mood, keep the BJP out at any cost sort of thing, I think that simply has broken down. I think that the numbers in the Hindi heartland are completely different now. The personal charisma of the Prime Minister is so great. I think the idea of treating them as pariahs is really, fraught with much more peril for the SP and the BSP. And I would also argue that, I haven't seen any polls on this, but one could make the case that for many BSP voters, the natural second choice would be the BJP and not the SP, and she's going to have to keep that in mind.
Indeed. I want to revisit the big picture questions, and Swami, I'm going to come to you. This election is going to be a referendum on Modi, a referendum on demonetization, even though we all thought it was such a controversial election issue. We all thought it was such a controversial economic decision to take, but it looks like the political repercussions, the political fruits, so to bear out of demonetization have been worth its weight in gold for the BJP.
Modi came to power promising two things: jobs for all and better uncorrupt governance. On the jobs, he has failed. There has been no massive job creation. So he desperately needs the second one of, I am giving you a more honest, a cleaner government. I am going to get rid of the crooks. So from that point of view, I think demonetization was very important. If he can keep that particular thing going, I think voters will go a long, long way and forgive his failures in some of the other areas. Look, I mean, I was out in the UP, and when you found guys dancing on the road saying Modi, 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 I have never seen this with Indira Gandhi, never seen it before. So, it's got to the stage where he's like a fan club of a rock star. And that kind of loyalty transcends all reason, all analysis, ye kya kiya, wo kiya. I mean, you're just with the fellow. So I think on that point of view, on the sheer charismatic appeal, Modi is on a very, very solid wicket, and this is going to stand him in good stead for a long time to come. And I think he will think up more things like more ways of apparently attacking black money or occupying the high moral ground. I think this is going to become an important part of his program in the next 2 years before the general election.
Swami said Modi came on two planks. One was, of course, development and job creation, and the other was, I will crack down on black money. I am going to get the guilty and the corrupt to book, and that is perhaps why he's being cheered on demonetization, contrary to what a lot of us in the economic realm did think. As far as his track record on job creation or development or reform or growth is concerned, it hasn't been very impressive. He's at the best been incrementalist. Do you believe these elections, and if the numbers do add up the way the exit polls are suggesting they would, do these elections then give him the elbow room and give him the wherewithal of being a bigger reformist than we have seen of Modi? Are we going to see Modi, call the shots on the big bang reforms that we keep talking about? Or did we misread Modi? He's fundamentally what he is. He's going to do incremental reforms, and we should make our peace with that.
It's a great question, and I think the answer really hinges on why you think Modi has not conducted those so-called big bang reforms in these 3 years. Do you think that he hasn't done it because he hasn't had the elbow room and suddenly a win in UP is going to give him that elbow room? Or do you feel that he hasn't done it because he fundamentally believes that this is not the way to get re-elected? Re-election is what he's about. He's not going to try some fancy sort of reform moves to please the editorial page of the Wall Street Journal. He's going to do things that, play to voters in places in UP and other parts of the Hindi heartland. Now, when I traveled across these places and spoke with people, I was struck by the number of people who absolutely loved demonetization, including people who had suffered. there were people who suffered, who said, well, you know, we suffered and we feel proud that we suffered because we suffered for the good of this country to help make things cleaner. So in terms of policy, you can fault it. I still think it was a cataclysmic policy. But in terms of its political impact, it certainly seems that at the very least it hasn't hurt him, and it may very well have helped him.
May very well have helped him. Salka, you want to come in on that? The complexion and the landscape of New Delhi is also all set to change if the BJP were to score big in some of these states, especially the states like Uttar Pradesh, Rajya Sabha, for instance, and that's what has really been the big stumbling block for the BJP and especially for Mr. Modi. You know, the big ticket reforms have gotten stuck there. It's taken him ages to get some of these reforms like the GST, you know, Constitution Amendment Bill passed, the insurance bill, I remember. Do you believe that's, I mean, all of these numbers set aside, that complexion is also set to change, and which is why these elections are just so crucial?
Absolutely. Supriya, if the exit polls are right, and we have to keep giving that caveat, if the exit polls are right, if Mr. Modi does score as well as it looks like he's going to score, from my own experience in Uttar Pradesh of traveling there for 2 weeks, I found that the momentum was squarely behind Mr. Modi. My personal point of view is that it's probably not going to be a hung assembly, and that Mr. Modi will register a win. That is entirely my personal opinion, depending based on what I saw when I traveled. But as I said, I think if Mr. Modi wins big in UP, if he wins these 4 states, then it certainly is going to result in the complexion of the Rajya Sabha changing. Mr. Modi will have a complete say over who gets to be president in June, July of this year. Mr. Modi will also get to call the shots within his party. He already does call the shots, but his position of authority in the party is going to become even greater. And I think, as you rightly say, the Rajya Sabha has been a stumbling block for Mr. Modi. It is the only impediment to Mr. Modi's legislative agenda. And if he has a big showing in the UP Assembly, then as we know, 37 MLAs are required to bring you that one Rajya Sabha seat. If he gets all those MLAs in Uttar Pradesh, then certainly the BJP will be able to stake claim to a large number of Rajya Sabha seats. And in that case, Mr. Modi will only add incrementally to the power that he already enjoys. But as I said, I think we should also look at the manner in which Mr. Modi and the BJP are now fighting elections. I mean, they really are a very effective election war machine. There was a debate the other day where the Congress was telling the BJP, well, we're not like you and we're not desperate. Well, if I was the Congress, I would ask, why aren't you desperate? You should be desperate. I mean, you've lost election after election. You're losing in every state. You're going to be in power in 2.5 states. If you lose Himachal and Karnataka, so why aren't you desperate? Now, as you rightly were pointing out in the beginning of the program, the Northeast is now a huge growth area, a huge focus point for the BJP. The BJP is in power in Assam. It won there last year. Mr. Hemanta Biswal Sharma, who was a strong man of Assam, who crafted that victory, is supposed to be looking after the BJP's interests in Manipur. The BJP is in power over there in Arunachal with Mr. Pema Khandu, who has gone from Congress to his own party, he's now with the BJP. His affiliation is now with the BJP. So we're seeing the Northeast as a very fundamental growth area for the BJP, and the BJP is working really hard there with some very effective local commanders like Mr. Hemanta Biswal Sharma. What is the Congress doing, in comparison? Nothing. And if you see the hunger with which the BJP even fought the Tamil Nadu elections, I was there covering the Tamil Nadu elections last year. BJP is not in reckoning in Tamil Nadu at all, of course, but it contested every seat and it fought the seats with this incredible spirit and hunger which I saw in the cadres. Now that hunger and that greed for power, you can call it lust for power or greed for power, is simply not there in the Congress. So Mr. Modi's built that machine.
Indeed, there is no energy in the other camp, and there is no denying that. It's for everybody to wait and witness that. But Sadanand, I'm going to come to you. This election is also perhaps, and by this election I mean the 5 state assemblies that we've discussed, is also going to set the stage, is also going to set the tone and the tenor as far as the rest of the state assembly elections are concerned. A string of them coming up at the end of this year and early next year. In some sense, do you believe this is going to be the deciding factor of which way those polls go? And Gujarat is, of course, one of them.
I think deciding factor is going a little bit too far. I think each state has its own factors. Gujarat, the BJP has been in power for more than 20 years. Rajasthan is a state that comes up later, closer to 2019, that tends to alternate. I mean, I don't think you can say that whoever, wins UP is necessarily going to win the others, but it certainly does make Modi seem even more formidable. I think on the margins, it makes people think twice about taking him on. It probably affects decisions such as, lower level leaders, whether they're thinking of defecting or not. So it certainly plays into this idea that he has this aura, he is strong, he's invincible, he's the man to beat in 2019. So it would all be helpful, but I wouldn't go so far as to say that winning UP translates into automatically winning the states that go to elections later in the year.
Swami, a quick last word to you then. 2019, is it Modi's election to lose?
Well, I think if you look at the arithmetic, Modi will be back in 2019. I mean, they've got 335 seats. If he loses 50 seats, which is a big amount, he's still got a majority. If he loses 70 seats, he's in handshaking distance. If he loses 100 seats, which is a lot, he will there. I mean, I think the others could get together, but even there, if you have Modi with 230 seats and you have the Congress with 80 seats, which of those two coalitions would the regional parties like to go in? I mean, the sheer numbers would suggest that an anti-BJP coalition would be very unstable and very shaky. So you might find all kinds of guys who oppose the BJP at the time of the polls. After the polls, may come along and join Modi. So I would say that, I don't rule out the possibility based on the exit polls that we get some hung assemblies here and there and that we don't get any kind of dramatic, emphatic Modi victory. But I would still say that even if he doesn't do that well in these state elections, he unquestionably has an extraordinarily good chance in 2019. It would take some absolutely new catastrophic thing to bring him down in 2019 at this stage.
And it looks like the opposition doesn't have that catastrophic thing to bring him down just yet. But thank you very much, Sadanand Dume, Swaminathan Iyer and Sagarika Ghosh for being with us, analyzing that important development as far as Uttar Pradesh is concerned, and of course putting things in perspective for the rest of the assembly elections as well.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/etnow and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at etnowlive. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/etnow.